Where's Fielder? He's gone to the dogs.
Welcome once again to the Gone to the Dogs podcast. This is the old coon hunter, Steve Fielder, coming at you one more time through the miracle of Al Gore's internet. And man, do I have a great show for you today. I'm at the Grand American Coon Hunt. First time I came here was in 1966, the second year of the Grand American. And I've been trying to make them every year since then, but Uncle Sam took me away for about 4 years, and then I missed a few. But, man, I tell you, the good Lord smiled on us this year. We got great weather down here. They got a big entry. I just talked to Alan Gingrich, who is the director of field ops there for hunting ops for UKC, and he told me they had 160 some walk-ins. I think there are over 300 entries for Friday night, which is pretty daggone good. But man, the big story here at Autumn Oaks is that I finally got to round up 3 yahoos that I've been wanting to podcast with for a long time, and I last talked to them at Autumn Oaks. But we didn't record while we were there. And that is the crew from the Coon Hunting Confidentials podcast on the Houndstooth Network. Is that right?
Podcasting network.
Podcasting
But
network.
if they search Houndstooth, they'll find it. It'll pop up.
Search Houndstooth.
On all
like
platforms.
A sport coat. I used to wear a Houndstooth sport coat. Do you ever know what that was?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I do know what the Houndstooth print pattern is.
All right. We're astute
Bear
coon
Bryant
hunters.
made it famous.
Bear Bryant, the famous hat.
They sure did.
The voice you hear there is the grand high potentate of the, of the podcast.
The great papoose.
Yeah. He's the one with the, well, we won't go there.
Oh, it don't matter.
Mr. Daniel Felker
It
is
don't
in the
matter.
house.
Howdy.
And we got Mr. Ryan James.
Howdy.
And Mr. Dustin Faukner.
All right.
That rounds out that trio.
That's
You
the
guys got-
Houndstooth Mafia.
That's it. No, guys, I tell you what, man, when I first heard about this podcast that you guys were doing, and let's, for the listeners, kind of establish, when did you say you started, basically?
We started in January
At
last
the Grand
year.
American.
At Grand American is when we actually recorded our first interview with like somebody. And from the motel room. It was Ashley Moss that was running around, helping get everything going on around here. But we had talked back and forth several different times leading up to that. And I remember last year coming over there and talking to you, and you was like, so are you still going with the paranormal thing and all that?
Well, I was a skeptic. I'll admit to you that I was a little bit of a skeptic at first, and I started listening, and then it's kind of like coon hunting, kind of gets a hold of you a little bit.
Hopefully it's like a bag of Lay's potato chip. If you listen to one episode, you can't just listen to one. That's my take on it anyhow. I don't know what Ryan and Dustin thinks.
Y'all got a new sponsor now, Lay's, is that right?
It'd be nice.
Well,
we are open to any sponsor.
We're open to it. Ryan, he's already he's wanting a duct tape sponsor.
Duct tape. Duct tape. That's interesting.
Nothing can fix a broken hunt like a roll of duct tape.
A broken hunt. Uh-huh.
Yeah, we were squirrel hunting and the sole of my boot came off. So
I was listening.
both of them,
I heard about that.
Both boots were falling apart. And actually,
I hooked them up.
I bought them down here at the Grand American. Probably
You drive a Ford, right?
I drive a Nissan now.
Oh, okay.
He's had a Ford and a Nissan.
They kid me all the time about driving a Ford, duct tape, and some baling twine, and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's where the duct tape thing come in. And Ryan will throw that out there. That duct tape need a sponsor or something. Well, I forgot what he said. I was like,
I think I took some pictures.
Well,
he did.
I put a little bit excessive amount on that first foot.
I still got those boots. I got them sitting there. I kind of don't want to throw
I had
them
his
away.
toes drawn up.
for more tips, contact the Houndstooth Network, correct?
Podcasting, but yeah. That's fine.
Houndstooth Podcast. I'll get that right before we're done.
We can tell you how to duct tape a boot when the sole comes off.
That's right. That's right.
But the most important thing is you need to roll a duct tape in your truck. You can't take nothing if it ain't there.
That's right.
I was looking for that this morning
Dustin.
in our booth over there, American Cooner booth in the big white vendor barn. If you're coming to Grand American, well, actually, you'll have to wait till next year because this won't be out until a week from now, whenever that is. But anyway, yeah, we were looking for duct tape this morning. It's an amazing thing. Who invented duct
zip
tape?
ties.
Does anybody know?
I have no idea.
I'm going to go with George Duct Tape.
George Duck. George, is it Duck or
I ain't
Duck?
got a clue. I'm just joking.
Listeners out there, let us know. Is it duck tape or duck tape?
You just got to say it real quick, and it don't matter
It
which
don't
it
matter.
is.
Their logo is a duck, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I
kinda
think
like
it was
Clinton.
made for,
Clinton.
wasn't
Like
it made
duct
for
work?
hook?
It's made for,
Connected duct
for
work.
air conditioning duct.
There you go. HVAC
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Yeah. Well, guys, you know what? I think it's a great idea that you have, and I'm really glad you got a podcast because I do, no joke, and listen to every episode. I enjoy it. Sometimes I'm like my buddy Nubbin Moore. Sometimes I think them stories are full of you know what. But I say, well, it's their story, and
Let
they're
'em tell
sticking
it.
to it.
Yeah,
You know,
it's theirs. Let them tell.
that's right. That is absolutely right. And it is very, very entertaining. Now, Daniel, I want to ask you, because I imagine you're the guy that came up with the concept, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell
Yes,
me
sir,
about
I did. Well, I was already listening to, I'd already done become a podcast junkie. And
Thanks to Dustin.
I done got the bug thanks to Dustin.
All right.
And
You're an inspiration,
yeah,
son.
we
I do what I can, Steve. I do what I can, Bo.
we mentioned it, and
Smartest
I
word,
mentioned it when we were talking. When I was on with you last year.
Yeah.
It was the episode. It was a Houndsman XP episode on scenting, and Dustin told me about it. And that same night, my dog treed on a persimmon tree, and I had to go hear what this, what the podcast had to say. And so I started listening to that one, and I listened to all the other ones, and branched out and started going into other different topics and stuff. And so I was listening to this guy named Tony Merkel, who he has a really big podcast. He actually has a thing called Merkel Media now. And so he has this show called The Confessionals. And there was this guy on there who wasn't his real name, but they called him Kyle on there. And he was telling a coon hunting story about a run-in with a cryptid in the Daniel Boone National Forest.
A dog man.
And it was a dog
A
man.
dog man.
But if you hear this, we got an interview coming out in February with these guys called Cryptids of the Corn. And here's a little preview to that.
You heard it here first, folks.
I dropped my theory on them that all these dog men encounters that I've listened to, and I've listened to a bunch of them, they're heavy in Michigan, Wisconsin, up in that area, reports of cryptids of dog men, werewolf type, whatever. But the way they sound,
Don't you laugh, Dustin.
and we can take this back. We can take this all the way back to Native Americans. Same thing, same area, all the way down through the Corn Belt. And it goes back a long time. There's even some of the things that could show that some of the early settlers that went out west encountered some of the same creatures that they, by description, has just become dog man or termed dog man, but I don't think it's a dog. To me, it sounds like they're describing a really large raccoon species of something, really large, because they talk about the hands. They're not paws. They talk about they have raccoon-like claws.
It's a
The
raccoon
only
man.
thing they don't mention is the mask.
I'm going to learn something here. I've heard you talk about, all I've kind of followed along, and cryptids and orbs, the lights, and all this kind of stuff. What is a dog man? Describe it. Well, you were.
By description, the eyes, there's multiple descriptions on how it could be as far as the face, all of that. But when they describe it on all fours,
Are you saying, time out, Ryan, you saying that?
I'm saying this is all on him. He's got this. This is his part.
I see. I thought you were pointing to him to say that he's an example
No.
of what you, okay.
no. But they all report when it gets down on all fours, it sounds exactly like a coon on all fours, a hump in the back, the way it runs with the hump and all that. When it stands up, it walks on its back. It stands up. It's got claws. It don't have paws. It has claws. It can retract and.
Whoa! Now coons can't retract.
I mean, not to
claws,
retract. I mean, I'm trying to. People
Grab.
can't
He
see.
meant to say
You
grab.
Yeah,
You can make a fist.
He was
or
doing sign
whatever.
language over here. I can read a little bit
Yeah,
of sign
I know
language.
the audience can't really.
said
They
grab.
can't see me, but he's like, the dog. It can do that, and it just sounds like a raccoon to me. So I told them guys, cryptid of the corn. It's not a dog. It's some type of. Maybe even a demon-possessed
I got you.
raccoon or something. I
I
don't
got
know
you.
what it is.
All right.
I can't wait to
But
know
anyway.
this.
But the coon hunt, when I was listening to that, I was like, okay, if this dude's talking about coon hunting, he's not going to bull jive me on this. He's not. I was like, I was listening to it. And the more I heard, the more I was listening to him. He knew coon hunting stuff. Now, I do have questions about him talking about his dog. It was me doing the time frame in my head, it would have been about maybe 2000, I'm guessing. And he names the dogs. That was one of them was like really well known in the area. That I want to know more about this dog Joe.
So
in
at
the
this
area.
point, let me interrupt. At this point, this is your first dabble into someone connecting coon hunting to this kind of
exactly
paranormal or whatever.
And I was
world.
listening to more of that, and I was like, I got to hear more of this. I was like, and I've heard several coon hunting stories on a bunch of other podcasts, like Sasquatch Chronicles with Wes Grummer. That's one of the biggest podcasts in the world, and he's had a couple different, and a lot of these people that will go on there and tell a story hadn't coon hunted in 15, 20 years and hadn't coon hunted since that experience. And so, and as far as what we've been doing, as far as reaching out, trying to get stories, has been within the coon hunting world. So now dabbling out with like cryptids of the corn and getting Appalachian intelligence, we recorded with them.
That's an
and putting it out
oxymoron, isn't it?
Yeah. The
Appalachian intelligence. I'm from the Appalachian Mountains.
he can say that.
I can say that.
He's got the card.
He's vetted, man.
Yeah.
He is vetted.
It's a play on the AI for artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
It's a play on all that, just like Appalachian intelligence.
Yeah.
But those are really cool guys. We like them. There's 3 dudes just like us. One dude named Ryan that's on that. He's exactly alike. They're exactly alike. They
pretty cool
and the
fellas.
dynamic of
Studly
that.
individuals.
The dynamic
I
of
probably
that
got a few
is
pounds on him.
they have the dude Justin.
Lady killers.
Justin, lady killers.
Pressure.
See, we done hijacked the podcast, Steve. I'm sorry about this.
Hey, man, that was the plan. I just wanted to turn you guys loose and let you do what you do.
He I forgot what I was saying now. What was I talking?
Dudes are
He's
talking about
making
how
it
awesome
up
they
as he
was.
goes.
Oh yeah, Justin, who does Appalachian Intelligence, is a lot like me. Ryan and their Ryan is a lot alike. Lance, who is a school teacher, him and Dustin, from what I've listened to them a lot,
They're just alike.
they're not. If we were to sit down and talk on different topics and say, what do you agree on this? Ryan and Ryan would be right there together. Me and Justin would be over here, and Dustin and Lance would be over. They would be like.
So you've got a kind of a model here a little bit. Did you model?
No. I never heard of them until
How much
6-7
time
months
do you?
ago.
How much time do you guys put into rehearsing before each episode?
Not much.
Zero.
Kind of like we did
Usually
tonight.
we sit down and I go, "What are we talking about tonight?" And he'll tell me, and I'm like, "All right."
All right, got
So
it.
sometimes
Let's
when
go.
we done talked about it, and he'll have to go back through it and give me a rundown. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I remember that now."
I often say on the podcast, we're going to jump on our horse and ride off in all directions. That's kind of what I usually do. But anyway,
we like
so
to
that
talk
was
about
the
food.
origin then, and then,
was-
but you went into it from the production end too, which
Yeah.
a lot of guys like me, you know, I talk into the mic, and that's about as far as mine go. I write the show notes and things like that, and you know, round up the guests and think of the questions I want to ask them, that kind of thing. But I don't know anything about the science of podcasting. I know it requires an RSS feed, whatever that is, and in my simple layman's terms, that's makes that recording, an MP3 file or 4 file, whatever, capable of being streamed on the internet.
Right.
Correct?
Right. Anytime somebody accesses your RSS feed and presses play, that counts as a download
Right.
instead of a legit download, like downloading it. Anytime it's like that that RSS feed is accessed, and it whichever platform you choose. Like we use Buzzsprout. Some people use Anchor. There are several different ones you could use as far as like creating and then getting set up with everything. But it'll let you know as far as like how many downloads you get, how many come from Apple, Spotify, Google, iTunes, or whatever, you know, they come from. They'll let you
it's a dashboard type thing that shows you what. Yeah, I'm all into that. I was a numbers guy, you know, kind of keeping track of the entries at the events and are the trends up and down and, you know, the different breeds and who, you know, all that kind of stuff. But this podcasting came along at a time for me when I'd kind of run out of energy to do anything else. And it's enabled me, you know, to kind of keep my hand in a little bit, so to speak. But I've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. We just, on this podcast, I did 52 episodes last year. And then the previous year I started in September and I did 14 for that year. So I guess I've done 66 or 67. And that seems like a ton, but yet it just seems like no time at all, you know. But
I believe you got quite a few people that enjoy listening to you. So,
well, I hope so. You know, and there's so many ways I want to go with you guys tonight, but most of all, I want you to just, you know, do what you do because I think it's very successful. I like the format of having the three of you talking together, the cross-talk and all that. And that's what I miss on my podcast. But I don't play well with others, apparently.
Hey, man, brother, it'd be terrible. I'd be done turn that off if it was just Daniel.
It would suck if it was just me.
You would turn it off
in a heartbeat. I'd be
Poor
like,
Daniel.
God,
I'd least mash play.
I didn't say I wouldn't mash play, but I'd turn it off.
Once
we got now.
Yeah, well, that's it, you know, and I really enjoy it. That's why I've been bringing a couple guys on every once in a while, my hunting buddies, you know, and just to have somebody to talk to, you know, to keep from dominating the conversation, which I tend to do.
Remind me to come back to that before we close out, because I got a message for Keston. How do you say his name?
Keston.
I got a message for him.
Yeah. All
bring
right.
me back to
We'll,
that.
we'll save that for Keston.
Yeah, I definitely don't think ours would work very good if it was just one or two of any of us for sure.
That's what I picked up on from the very start with you guys was the cross-talk, the humor, the ribbing each other and all that. That's good. That's good stuff. It's what's the word I want to use? Organic? Is that the word?
Yes, but we'll go with
we'll go with that.
non-GMO.
Are we green? Are you a green podcast?
Yeah, we're a green podcast. Super green.
I don't know. I feel like I can edit a podcast. I'm more comfortable doing it. I feel like I can edit one a whole lot quicker as the time went on, and I still put probably more time than I should, or I still. But I kind of like get creative with it, and in my mind just gets to turning. I'm like, hey, how would this sound with this story, with this kind of background music?
Well, you do more of that. See, that's something I don't have much control of. Well, I do, I guess, but I don't. The reason I don't is I just hate to bug them with it. But I think of all these things. Man, it'd be cool if we could do this or if we could do that. Well, that translates down to somebody putting in more work that I don't really understand how many hours they got on their plate every day. And I'm not the only game in town. So I'd say, well, that'd be great. I'd love it. But, I'll just roll with the flow. Maybe you ought to do that a little more. And maybe the podcast would be a little more.
I'll give you an idea. We're going to be recording in a little bit in our hotel room for the episode coming out Wednesday. They look at it. We done talked about this. We talked about it a little while ago.
I thought we said we
guys,
do it tomorrow.
you thought you were off
No, we can't do it tomorrow. We can't do it tomorrow because I'm leaving tomorrow.
Hey, guys, he's a slave driver. Are
He
y'all
is.
looking for work?
We ain't never looking for work, but we sure find it.
So
Bad choice of words.
We ain't afraid of hard work. We'll lay down and go to sleep right beside it.
I'm just thinking, if you're looking for another opportunity,
taking my help away.
no.
I think I finished that conversation with that gentleman last night in the motel room, or is it a hotel?
I don't know. It's pretty nice.
A motel?
It's a
whatever
hotel.
We won't say
want
their
it to
name
be.
unless they want to start giving us free rooms.
It could be an inn.
Anyway,
it could be
it could be. It is an inn.
It's a place to
It's
lay
an
our
inn.
head.
There you go.
So I finished it up last
pizza
night,
inn.
and I spent about an hour on it last night. I probably got about an hour and 25, hour 30 minutes in cleaning that conversation up, going through because he wants to remain confidential. So I had to bleep out like certain parts and once you hear this episode, when this come, this will be, when will this come out?
Okay,
Okay,
this
okay,
one
okay.
right here will be Monday's the 9th.
Right. Okay. It'll be.
My episode. I've
It'll
got
be
one
the week
episode
after
before.
us.
You're
Yes.
going to be on the 16th.
Okay. So this one will come out on the 11th. So everybody will hear that. But this gentleman want to remain confidential and all of that. So there were certain parts of like the beginning of like the, hey, how you doing? Hello, part of the phone call and stuff like that. But just basically all it is I'll sit down and re-listen to it. And if I can mute something out that's like a background thumping of a knock or something like that, try to like,
Don't do
get it
that.
out of, I was just giving an example, or, like somebody thumped on the table. If I can, get that out.
Ice.
Or shoot
On
mice and things like that.
Yeah.
We got to leave that in.
So it's just little things, cleaning that whole part of it up, putting the sponsors parts in there, stuff. So I should already had it done, but going through Christmas, New Year's, all of that, I kind of. So we're getting ready to get back at it, start recording more episodes.
Right. But there is a learning curve to learning how to do all that to produce a show that you can send to your network or your.
Yeah, you can upload it. Once you learn how to upload it on the computer and play with the audio, I mean, it takes some playing with.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I think I played with it, just record. Was it like a month and a half?
A long time.
Yeah. When we started Houndsman XP, Chris Powell and I, he took the time and the initiative to learn how to do that stuff. And he produced our stuff. Of course, early on, I think he would understand me saying so. Our sound sucked, if you want to know the truth, because, we didn't have the proper venues and internet trouble. Forced them to use a public library and it sounded like we were in a tank, the echo and all the acoustics were horrible and it was a learning curve, and it's still, but that's the thing about podcasting though. It's real, and it's not polished and you don't have to do double takes and all that stuff. But it just made it real easy for me. And I've said this so many times, but man, I used to think about having a coon hunting radio show. I thought that would be great. Every Sunday night, tune in to coon hunting around the world.
Yeah.
And but what would that take?
6:50 a.m.
You would
around the world.
That's right. WBUG, keep your mug on the big bug. That's right. When I was in college, we used to have little skit we used to do at talent shows about a radio station or TV station, but that's ancient history. Well, listen, you gotta. How's it going? I mean, are you seeing an increase in your? You don't have to tell me how many or whatever. Are your audience is expanding, right?
Yes, sir. It's expanding.
I never thought we would be where we're at.
Great.
I mean, we ain't that big. We're bigger than I thought we'd be.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't think I'd be sitting there on.
Or people recognizing us as we're right around. Talking on the Gone to the Dogs podcast.
Yeah,
There's probably a bunch of folks that's going to hear me on there and be like, that's fat son. I never thought he'd be on there.
Yeah, I tell you what,
it's
you're
weird.
Weird. The authenticity is the thing that I like about what you guys do. The material is entertaining, but the way you handle it, that's cool. And so from the beginning, you just decided you were going to let it flow, right? You didn't have any specific plans or anything. How did you recruit these guys, Daniel? How did that come about?
Well,
to buy into your idea.
I don't really know how I got them to buy into the
What
idea.
about
I was
you,
like,
Me and
hey,
him just hunt together all the time. We've been buddies for.
he's all the time at the store.
Yeah.
We talked on a daily basis pretty much anyways.
Yeah.
And he always gives me all his dumb ideas.
At first, I couldn't figure out which one to use which. I knew when Ryan. Then I figured out Dustin's one's always says bow.
No, that's me.
Because
That's
it
probably
was
me.
bow.
No,
We both say it.
Both
Y'all
of them
both say
did.
it. Yeah.
What's
See, you confusing me.
What's so bad about it is I say it from picking on somebody that says it all the time. But now I say it all the time.
Yeah.
I got you.
And see, I used to call everybody cuz. And then
Okay.
I was hanging around Ryan so much, it just turned into Bo for some reason. Because I used to call everybody cuz.
I called everybody cousin.
Cuz, huh?
I had an old boss man that said Bo a lot, and I just made fun of him, and I got stuck saying it.
I mean, to me, it just made sense because Dustin had been listening to podcasts a lot longer than me, and I never listened to a podcast, period, until that one, and then I ranked in the top 1% with Spotify as far as how many hours I listened to podcasts last year in 2022. And it was a lot. I'm not going to give that number away, but we'll say it was a lot.
Well, this is probably not a good thing for me to say because we have a podcast and I want people to listen to podcasts and all, but my podcast listening has greatly decreased in the last few months. And I don't know if it's because I'm busier. I don't know if it's, if I'm thinking about these programs and what I'm going to do and all. Maybe it's because I'm not getting out and about as much as I used to.
Thinking about that pup you got that's on
Well,
fire.
that I'm enjoying. Yeah, I'm enjoying my dog.
Go ahead and announce it. Go ahead and announce it. You may as well go ahead and announce it right now.
It'll be all over the papers by Monday.
Yeah.
It's already on Facebook. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah,
what
Mark's
they're
got you and
talking
his
about.
picture on Facebook. Daniel and Mark's picture's on there already. Mark put it on.
Yeah. Yesterday afternoon, folks, these guys are talking about Mark, my partner, Miller, who's been on here before. He said, I'm going to win the treeing contest at the Grand American. I said, yeah, right. That's a lofty goal. There's a lot of dogs and all yada yada. I said, what are you going to win it with? He said, Fever. I said, no, he ain't no treeing contest. Fever's a good tree dog, but he's no blow a tree down tree dog. But there's one thing about Fever that you got to factor in. If there's something there that he can figure it's a game or he can get a hold of it or whatever, or there's another dog involved in it, he's going to try his dead level best to outdo everything that's in the room. I've never seen a pup like this. I've had them for a long time.
And it's a plot.
And it's a plot. And you said you'd never hunt a
They got
plot.
that hard in them.
Never
Damn,
hunt a
greedy.
plot, he said, didn't he? I heard him right on Al Gore's internet say that. He would never hunt.
He didn't say he would never
I
hunt.
said-
He said he'd never own one.
Oh, he'd never own one. Well, if he hunts with you, he's got to hunt with a plot, don't he, Ryan?
But
Yeah.
he's
Hey, he
doing
went
his
one night this year
ancestors wrong.
solely with just a plot. His
Ooh.
dogs was in heat. All we had was my dog.
Well, Mark Miller is a walker man through and through, and he's hunting that plot, so you better watch it, Daniel.
You might
can-
mess around
yeah.
and have your plot dog.
That's
pull
right.
over.
But my walker dog is a dreamer dog on the bottom side. So, you know,
And that's
Mark like to
Mark's
hear that.
thing. Yeah. Well, listen, just to finish that little story so I can get my bragging in and we can move on. Fever did win the treeing contest today. 68 barks in 30 seconds.
Oh, that's
And
pumping
got a
them out.
nice trophy, you know, dust collector. Everything's wonderful right now, but he's out there tonight, boy. He's got his hands full tonight.
Who'd he draw?
Hey, I don't know the names, but he drew 3 dogs that are 6 years old apiece. And one of them is a triple Grand Night, 3-time Grand Night,
Where did
Where
they draw
did
to?
about 15 minutes from here.
He ought to be in some coons then.
Yeah,
I wonder if he
yeah.
drawed with a
Norman Starling.
no, the guy that I just give the sticker to out there,
Sam?
Shannonberry.
Shannonberry. Oh, yeah,
Oh,
Stephen
Stephen Shannonberry. Yeah, I remember Stephen from the AKC days when we had the World Hunt here in Orangeburg. You were involved in that then.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
yes,
you,
sir.
We
Ryan
was in
just told me
Newberry,
we went out to supper. I hadn't remembered that.
I was a
but-
little fella then.
Yeah.
Well, I was probably about
well, you ain't no little fella now.
15.
You mean
That's probably about
young
15.
Hold on.
or otherwise?
15. when
I'm
that
trying
happened.
to think. When
Both.
was the
Yeah,
World
I ain't never
Hunt?
been much of a little fella.
He ain't never. What was the World Hunt was in Newberry when 2007
Boy, I can't
or
remember.
2008? One of
2007.
them. Had to be
I just have to
2007.
guess. I know I went to work for AKC in 2004, and we had the World Hunt. That next one was planned for Chillicothe, Ohio. So I know we were there then. But then I'm thinking, so that'd be like 5. Could have
I
been
want to say it
6.
was 07.
Or
It
It
seven,
could have been
I think
6,
it
but
was
it might have
7.
been 07.
Okay, all right.
I got to
Yeah.
have
It
it
was
at
a
the
good
house
time.
somewhere.
Was that was? Did Mr. Smith win that?
Yes,
that one?
yes, sir.
Yep.
That was his second World
I
Hunt.
was
that he
I was
won.
one of the 3 judges on the World Hunt
Gotcha.
that night. You asked me about it, what I remembered of it. I don't remember a whole lot about that night. I
I remember you talking
I
about
was-
Mr. Smith looked good. You said he was.
he was flawless.
That little
all he did
dog
was tree
in-
coons.
The night that he won it in Chillicothe, he was hunting against 2 good females, and he put on a coon treeing clinic. He treated 3 raccoons by himself that night. Looked real. That I never hunted with him, but
See-
he was a tough little hound.
I wish I could see that scorecard. If I could see that scorecard, that scorecard, you can look at it and put that picture of that hunt. You can picture the hunt in your head by that scorecard.
Yeah.
If I looked at that scorecard, I
Yeah.
could kind of. Something may have backed him that night. I don't remember, but I know he was by himself with
Yeah.
coons. I mean,
Yeah.
he was like first
Yeah.
tree if something ever backed with him. I don't
Yeah.
remember if they
Yeah.
did or not.
Don Dunlap was handling him. For Larry Weaver was the owner at that time. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great history. That was a lot of fun having a world hunt in Newberry. I kind of wondered about going there because you hear the story upstate. You don't have as many coon as they have downstate. Yada yada. It all worked out really well, I
Ooh.
thought.
I saw several dogs that was from Ohio, places like that where their dogs will bump a deer, but they got so many coons they fall off on them.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, they ran them son guns all freaking night up in our neck of the woods.
That didn't work real good in our part of the country.
That does nothing for the image of coon hunting, Daniel.
You hear them. I heard a bunch of them say it. They would say it. It was like, man, it's like our dogs will bump a deer at home, but then they'll fall off on the coon. They
Yeah.
won't run it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, they might fall off on the coon, but they liable to be a half a mile.
Yeah.
Or further.
Or 2.
That's right. That's right.
Our bucks have a strong scent to them, I guess.
All right, let's get a little profile around it. Daniel, how old are you?
40. I'll be 43 in January the 19th.
Married.
Yes, sir. Been married
How-
22 years.
How many kids?
3.
3
I got
children.
my oldest son, Andrew, just turned 21 January the 1st. He does the announcing where they announce for the shows, the winners and dogs and all that good stuff over
Good
there.
deal.
My other son, Peyton, he's 17. He's about to be 18. And then my little girl, Ava, she's 10.
Yeah. I
And
met
my
her
wife named
today.
George. I don't want to leave her, leave her
Well,
name
you
out.
better not
His better
leave the
half.
boss out. Are you married, Ryan?
Not married. I'm single. 31. I got 2 boys.
All right, hear that, ladies out there. I don't know if we got any ladies that listen to this podcast or not.
I'm sure you do.
They got a
Stud
few.
like you, I'm sure
Oh,
they
yeah,
got
yeah.
raining everywhere.
Right.
Dogs.
I'm a
18.
real chick magnet. I am. Yeah.
Anybody, 18 to 80, blind, crippled, or crazy.
Oh, watch it now.
We ain't gonna go that far. Man.
Watch it now. Watch it now, boys. This is a family show now. You guys got to keep it on at a minimum. Huh?
Actually, I heard that was from an old promo in wrestling years ago, back in the 80s. I think Jim Cornette might have said something like
Is
that.
that
I can't
right?
remember.
So you're 31.
31. I got
Gotcha.
2 boys, 10
Awesome.
and 7.
All right.
They're a ball of fire.
Yeah, I see them. They're squirrel hunters,
Yeah.
aren't they?
They
Yeah.
one of them's part time.
Part time.
The other
Yeah.
one, he likes squirrel hunting.
You know, it's
He's
funny
wide
about, we talk about breeding dogs, okay? And we wonder why. Well, we made this cross, the same cross, and it didn't turn out the same way. Well, look at our kids. I mean, you know, same mother and dad, and they're
they'll
nothing
be night
alike.
and day.
Genetics is different.
Why would we expect dogs to be carbon copies? You know, it's sure
Absolutely.
not. That's why it makes it 2 things: real interesting and also real frustrating.
Extremely frustrating sometimes.
That's right. Well, what about you, Dustin?
31, not married, no kids of my own. I have a girlfriend I've been dating about a year, and she's got 3 boys. But
Oh boy, yeah.
I've rocked it by myself for a long time.
Right.
He has
That's
a
cool.
nice house over there. Nice little bachelor pad.
All right.
She gets mad if we call it bachelor pad.
He is single, ladies. You heard that, right? No, he's got a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I got a girlfriend.
No,
Oh, you don't
retract that statement. I don't want the ire of this woman on me.
Get him beat up.
Oh, man. I heard Steve Harvey. You guys know who Steve Harvey is?
Yes,
He's
sir.
from West Virginia, by the way.
Yep.
And talking about a lady on a program was talking about she was concerned about how her husband was disciplining her sons. She said, I feel like he's too harsh on the kids sometimes, you know. And so Harvey asked him, so, well, what makes you want to interfere with his job? And he says, is this man a man that you love and respect? Oh, yeah. Is he the man you'd want your children to grow up, your boys to grow up to be with? Oh, yeah. Well, why are you messing with him? You know, and Harvey says, well, my family, my daughter, I don't try to tell my wife how to raise that girl because I don't know anything about girls.
Yeah.
But those boys, I do know about boys. I know how boys think and all. And that's, you know, and I thought that was great advice, you know. But anyway, that was free. That was,
I'll tell you
doesn't cost
something
you a
else.
dime. Huh?
I thought I had parenting figured out with my 2 boys. But my little girl, Ava, if she would have been first, she'd have been last.
They're different, aren't they?
Poor little angel.
Yes, yes.
That sweet child, man. You ain't talking about
Yeah,
her.
she's a sweetie. I met her out there today for the first time. Well, guys, let's. There's so many things I want to talk about with you, and of course, let me go along with this. How come you hitched onto this wagon? I mean, when Daniel said, "Let's go do a podcast," what
They said
do
they
you
wanted
think?
my humor on there, and I didn't think I had that much humor to me, but some folks say I
Some
do.
people just naturally humorous.
He's just so quick-witted, man. His
He
mind
is.
works
Like a steel
so
trap,
fast.
man.
like a ninja.
Like a ninja. He got a ninja of a mind.
Is that he's got a half-cocked Judy all the time?
Yeah.
Have you seen that guy, that hillbilly ninja?
Yeah, the Judy chop.
Judy chop. It's a Judy chop ready for him. That's right.
All the time. He's funny.
Yeah. So okay, that's cool. And that
And me and him hunt. Well, at the time we was hunting quite a good bit together.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, "Man, you got to come on there. It's gonna be me, you, and Dustin." So
Yeah.
he conned me into it.
So he talked you into it first, Dustin. Before.
Mhm.
So what were you thinking?
Yeah. I like running my mouth anyway. So
Yeah.
if people going to listen to me, might as
Well,
well
yeah.
tell
Why
them.
not?
Why not? You know, I'm an interesting person.
Let me. That's right.
If you
That's
got
right.
directions
Why
from
not
him, you would never
share
get
all
lost.
the? Why
And you
not?
would arrive 5 minutes early.
But truth be told, when it comes to a lot of stuff, Dustin is probably one of the smartest one out of the group.
Oh, I figured that out real early.
Yeah, like he figures, like the electrical stuff and all that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Dustin works maintenance at where we works in the
Oh,
shop.
yeah.
So all the
So you guys work together then?
oh
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Them two.
All
yes, sir.
them. Yeah. Okay. What kind of work do you do, Ryan?
Electrical
No,
work and well, I ain't no
absolutely
electrician.
no.
though.
Electrical work? You mean like I did here? Plug this in the wall?
Sometimes.
He can weld. I've
Millwright.
seen pictures of his welds. He
Yeah.
can weld pretty decent.
I work with my cousin right now. He's got his own company. You know, they're doing pretty good.
Good.
He keeps me busy and his son busy. We
That's awesome.
do a little bit of millwrighting too. Good bit
Oh,
of
yeah.
millwrighting and electrical work. I'm more of an electrical helper, but I can millwright
Yeah.
and I weld too. I got another guy I work with part time, so I'm welding.
Man, I love guys with skills like that. I wish I could get it. Every kid in this country and say, learn a trade.
They need to learn a trade.
Learn a
Absolutely.
trade. My dad had a 10th grade education. Grew up on a farm in Tennessee. Had two brothers. Quit school in the 10th grade. He was riding a school bus 90 miles a day to school.
Oh,
And it was all the fumes of the bus. He said it used to bust my head, those fumes, you know. And he said, I just got tired of it and I quit, you know. Well,
I can sympathize with that.
in the Air Force, not Army, he'd forgive me for that. He talked to a guy, and the guy told him, said, Fielder, you know, when you get out, you ought to learn to be a pipe fitter. Man, those guys make good money, you know. You got to serve an apprenticeship and stuff. He took that to heart. When he got out, he and my mother got married, and they moved to Beckley, West Virginia. And couldn't hardly find a house. They bought a little house for $6,000. $6,000. and they lived in that house until my dad died. They had 62 years of marriage, I believe. Of course, they expanded it and remodeled and all that. But anyway, he made a good living. He served an apprenticeship,
well,
you know, and much better probably than if he'd had a college degree, you know. And that's what I think these kids are missing the
I've been
boat.
around
on.
some
well,
short
and he
people.
was content.
Oh, yeah.
And in today's world, man, very few of us is ever content because we got them stupid phones and see everybody else got something better and we need something better. But
That's good stuff right there. Good stuff. We have become slaves to the screen. You know, I know when they first came out with cell phones, and they talked about in Europe or Brazil or somewhere, I heard everybody had a cell phone. I said, that'll never happen. Everybody's not going to have a cell phone. Now, you know, you could see a 3-year-old, they got their own phone, you know, they're playing. Anyway, that's another rabbit path that I didn't mean to go down, but okay. So, first episode that you guys have, how'd it go? Were you happy with it? Was it rough? Or did you stand back and say, hey, man, that was kind of cool?
It was kind of cool, but we was in a motel room full of people. Well, I was nervous about talking in front of those folks.
The very first one we done, we recorded. That was like
Our
the Meet
first
the
episode
Mafia.
ain't the first recording that we did.
It was like the Meet the Mafia one. I remember our very first one.
yeah, but our
And
first
we had-
recording was in the hotel room, though.
Oh
Bo.
yeah,
Like
that was-
our first recording was in the hotel room with like 8 people and us 4 with a microphone and some headphones on.
and we had
what were
already
these
recorded
guys
the
doing?
other one
Just like
beforehand.
a live audience type thing, or what were you thinking with all those
No,
people?
It was
Or
people
do you
youngins.
normally
It was
have
everybody
12
youngins.
people in a hotel room?
It was
together?
youngins. It was,
We was
we was
partying
talking to
now.
Ashley and Ashley's
So it's
two
family.
daughter. That was her family. That was her daughter. They
and
was
his
sitting
2
in there.
boys.
Yeah.
They was
One
all
of them
over there
snored a
being
little bit
quiet,
then.
and they was trying not to laugh if something funny was said. And I was like, "Y'all be quiet." You know, I was all like
And there was
particular
children.
about it.
They was children.
I had to hold back a little bit.
Yeah. Well, you were mentioning earlier, Daniel, about, you know, the sound and how you pick up the clicking and the knocking and all that stuff. And back in my days with Brent Reeves and Nick Gilliland with the what do we call it? Nightlife Nation. Brent he did our production. He was always on our back about clicking ballpoint pens and stuff like that, you know. But after a while, I think people get to the point that they realize that these podcasts are not sterile. You know, they're not done in a professional studio. That's
Like
why
that, like
somebody racking his pipes off out here in the parking lot sounds
Some
like.
local idiot.
Yeah. Well, he's from South Carolina. What can I say? You know.
We don't know
Nature
that for
taking its
sure.
course.
Oh man, there's so much I want to talk to you guys about.
Yeah, I was kind of like that at first, as far as
Yeah.
like the background and.
You're still pretty bad, dude. You're still kind of OCD about it. You're not as bad, but
I'm not
you still
as
do a
bad.
lot
He
of
ran out the
cutting.
door of the store the other day.
Oh,
Because
frustration.
this boy
huh?
down the road kept turning around in the parking lot and going up the road trying his new hot rod out,
Yeah.
And I was having to hold him back a little bit.
Oh,
And then we
man.
just said, "Get him."
I
Get him.
remember, and I won't mention the name, but we recorded with a guy one time when we first started Houndsman XP, and we ended up not using it because it was just so crazy. I mean, it sounded like I don't know what, but I thought the guy got up to get a cup of coffee and had to build a coffee pot to make it in, because that's how much noise this guy was making on there. And you can't write in the middle of recording with these things. Usually you just let the recording go and you don't stop and start and all that, or I don't. Maybe you guys do, but we push the button here right now. We're looking at 45 minutes and just let her rip. But boy, back in that day, it was kind of tough getting people to understand, and then say, now, okay, find a quiet place, turn your cell phones off, and be conscious of you, beating on the table or things like that. Other than that, who cares? There's a dog barks in the background, baby cries, whatever. Yeah. It's life, I mean, that's the way I look at it, but.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of how it is now. I don't. I still will edit out some stuff like that cough. If Ryan has a coughing fit, I can try to edit that out somehow. Or sometimes, like when we come back, Dustin, when we come back from all the mokes, it was when I forgot when it was. He had a little cough, and so it was just going through, editing those things out.
He had the heartworms with ivermectin.
Heartworm?
But that was like this atmosphere.
You didn't
right
use
here.
that lemon treatment, did you?
We ivermectin.
Oh, okay. You ever tried the lemon treatment? Where you
Not
cut,
yet.
you cut a lemon in two, and you squirt it in the dog's mouth. Then you have to get on the other end and suck until you can taste the lemon.
You suck the lemon juice back through them.
Yeah, but the reason you have that other lemon, half a lemon, is to take the taste out of your mouth from that first lemon. We'll probably have to cut that.
I think some people need that. There's a lot of people that are struggling right now because of COVID. Saving a few dollars.
I've talked to some people before who I'd swear they'd done that by the way their breath smelled.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's right. We used to have an old saying, just because your breath smells like eight, it don't mean you're Tarzan. No, okay. The first time you heard your voice after recording, what did you
so
think?
Weird. I'm just now getting used to it. I don't even listen to our podcast because of it.
It took me a minute getting used to it, but I've done listening to myself so much now. I can hear myself talking, and I hear myself talking the exact same way I hear myself in the headphones. That I've listened to so much with all the editing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dustin shaking his head, but
I hadn't hit that part yet. But the first time I heard me, I was like, man, there ain't no way I sound like it. Because I don't have no draw in my own head. Like when I hear myself, I don't have this big, strong draw like what I got when I talk to y'all. It's crazy, man. It don't make no sense to me.
You don't sound to yourself the way you do on recording.
Right. I don't have this southern draw in my head.
Here's the deal with me. When I was in sales before I ever went to UKC, I started in 83. I worked for a sales organization, and I had to travel all over the country, and I had to address these sales forces. Sometimes there'd be 100 guys in the room, and I'd have to get up and present this program because we were teaching them how to sell this product, okay? So at first I had no public speaking experience at all, but it was my job. I had to stand up before those people, and after a while, I got comfortable just being in front. And then when I went to work for the registries, you're calling out all those casts, you're announcing the bench show and all that. So that just kind of came natural, But it was intimidating to me a little bit the first time I put on a headset or sat in front of a mic to record it. I did. And I know I don't have this radio voice. I've got this guy in West Virginia, a friend of mine growing up. His name is Ralph. He's in the West Virginia Broadcasters Hall of Fame. This is a funny little story nobody's heard. So we started Houndsman XP. Chris Powell and I were talking about it, and said, well, we need an intro or something. This guy, he's a professional broadcaster. He's got awards and stuff. And he got a couple demos for me. And Ralph, forgive me for this, but it sounded like he had this big radio voice. Welcome to Houndsman XP, blah, blah, blah. And I said, that ain't Coon Hunters, Bubba. They're going to laugh me off the planet if we do something like that, But anyway, it's kind of a weird deal. But what motivates you to do this? We all got a little bit of ego, I guess. We like to know people listen to what we say and all. But what's the motivation? Fun.
It helps when people comes up to me talking to me. I don't realize I don't know who they are, and then they're like, "Man, we listen to your podcast." Like,
yeah. That's a trip, isn't it? Yeah,
that's a trip.
Yep,
yeah.
I agree with
and
that.
Sitting here talking with somebody like you,
or man,
some of the other fellas we've talked to.
Man, I was nervous when we first sat down, man. Like, we do this with us, and I could feel it, man. I was nervous being on his, man. It's weird,
just something
dude.
different. It's just because it's different, Yeah, well, I knew that when I get together with you guys, it'd be a lot of fun. It really has been. But we got so many things we could talk about. What's without spilling the beans? What's coming up? Without getting too deep into it.
I have to tell you about the one that's going to be on the 11th. So this is going to be the week after this episode. That episode comes out because we do bi-weekly.
Yeah.
So we took a little break through
the holidays.
Yeah, the holidays, New Year's, get through Grand American.
Did y'all get paid for that? I mean,
no, we didn't continue to get paid on holiday. I'm about ready to talk to my union rep, to be honest with you.
So the first episode of 2023 is going to be January 11th. I think that'll be episode 29. I think.
Cool.
That's the one. I'm just going to tell everybody to revert back to that one, or they could go back to the one because one kind of led to the other one. How that all happened. So the one for Christmas and right there at the end of the year, they can go back and listen to that one if they wanted to. But this one that's coming out, I don't want to ruin it because they just got to hear it.
Well, don't spoil it, man. Don't spoil it.
I can tell you the state. That's all the guy. I think
it's one of our better
ones.
Out.
Really?
State, yeah.
So you feel real good about it. That's great.
It's in Alabama, and
all right.
It helps when somebody's good at telling
My cousin Vinny said it best. Ala-freaking-Bama, right?
I'll go ahead and tell you.
Don't spoil it now.
Man,
don't
spoil
I wasn't going to tell you. I wasn't going to tell you the story.
We got a fight going on here, right?
We can leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. That just adds more to the suspense. Check it out.
Okay.
It's a really good one. I feel actually lucky that we was able to get it recorded, and it just happened. I had talked to the guy, and then we ended up. I sent him just. Found him on Facebook, sent him a message. Even those two don't even know his name. And so I sent him a message. We got to talking. He was going to call me at like 10 o'clock. And then he got held up. There was some guy was supposed to be coming to look at some real estate that he had for sale. And he's an older gentleman. I think he says 63. And he ended up calling me on a Friday afternoon at about 2 o'clock. And I knew it was a one shot get it recorded if possible and go with it. Well, there's a older guy that lives down the road from me. I know you've met him. We called him Percy. He used to come down here and help us all the time.
Percy. He used to hunt with David.
Yeah, he just was there hanging out, and I was like, "Here, dude, I had all the mics muted but mine," and I set a headset over there, and I was like, "Listen to this conversation." And as soon as the phone started ringing, I pressed record. I had it all set up, ready to go. Had my phone plugged in, ready to hit record. And I was already sitting there at where all the podcast and stuff is, and he probably wasn't 2 or 3, maybe 5 minutes at tops. Ryan comes rolling up, and I'm waving hand motions to him to come back there and put headsets on. He comes down, he's sitting. He never said anything, but he listened to it. He was there, and I
still hadn't got to hear it. I got to hear it before we can talk about it.
Yeah, he's gonna hear it here in a little bit. That's why I finished it all up last night, so he could listen to it and we could talk about it. But it was we couldn't get him in there, and I was hoping I was gonna be able to schedule it because I really wasn't expecting it to go the way it did, and him just, I was, kind of thought he might, tell me a little bit about it, and then I was going to try to talk him into letting, I recorded it and this or that, but he agreed to it, just some of the confidential stuff, and we are Coon Hunting Confidentials.
Yeah.
But in his area, I have found there is stuff documented in his area with the police force.
All right, you're getting a little long-winded, Bo. Like you trying your best to get into the story and spoil it now. Let's go.
I appreciate you.
Let's go move on.
Yeah, reel me back. So anyway,
he'll go on and he'll end up talking himself into telling the story.
I ain't gonna do it. So anyway,
where's that sergeant at arms? Where is that guy?
And it was the guy. If you listen to it, is the trailer right there at the very end of the last episode of 2022. Put a little trailer together, a kind of a teaser going into the new year, and that's what we're leading off the new year with. And we're still, we got to get some more stuff recorded, and as we go, we've been out there riding around. I rednecked it up today. I did. I rednecked it up.
I felt a little stupid riding around.
Man, we've been getting some people staring at us like we are the biggest
and then I
idiots.
I forget that we got the sign on there. I'm like, what are they staring at us for?
You got a brown cardboard sign.
I went over there and talked.
Will work for podcasting time.
I went over there to Mr. Ray's booth at Bright Eyes, and I said, Mr. Ray, do y'all have any cardboard?
There,
that's right. Yeah. Plug for a sponsor. I said, Mr. Ray, do y'all have a cardboard box that y'all just ain't using, throwing away or whatnot? And they was like, yeah, go over there. And they got me one out of the trailer, and I tore it in half, and I got a black marker, and I forgot what I wrote on it. And I was like, we are looking for any coon hunting stories that include the wild and unexplained or something. I don't know. I was doing it in a hurry.
Looking for crazy coon hunt stories, I think what it said.
Because
creepy
Dustin, our banner is on his side by side. And so I was like, well, I need something to put on mine. I just made it up real quick and put one on the front and the back. And so we looking for stories.
Yeah.
Anyway, coon hunting stories. And if I cipher through it and I feel, I hadn't come across none yet that I wanted, that I felt like was.
We should sit down and talk with them today.
No, I'm talking about in the past. That, none of them was so. I'm not even going to say because it takes a stretch of the imagination on some anyhow. But like I told you before, I try to go back and make it make sense somewhat biblically if I possibly can. And I can do the fairies that way. I try to.
Well, I think that lends authenticity, what you say. Well, I'll have to confess, when you guys first started out, I said, how are these guys going to come up with enough stories? I personally don't have any of those kind of supernatural experiences out in the woods.
Go back to West Virginia.
Now, wait a minute. I will rewind that to say, if you want to make this leap, that I believe in a supernatural God that looked after me many, many nights, driving home sleepy. When, as my mother said, there's nobody on the highway after midnight but drunks. So you don't need to be out there. That's what she always told me. But I know that there's been divine intervention on my part, but I don't have any, what's the word I want to use? Paranormal type experiences. I don't ever recall being in the woods and feeling like somebody was breathing down my back, or that I felt the rush of angel wings, or I mean, I just didn't, I don't have those kinds of experiences. But I think I've learned from listening to you guys that there's a lot of people that are more attuned to that thing.
Yeah.
That I may not be paying attention, and I'm the worst. I mean, I was a poster boy for ADD when I was in high school. As soon as I'd crack a book, man, I'm in the squirrel woods, man. Those squirrels are feeding on those hickories. We're going coon hunting tonight. And I couldn't concentrate on what, was coming. And I didn't know what it was back then. They said, well, you're lazy, Steve. You're not doing, But anyway, I don't pay as much attention to what's going on around me as I should, because I've always got something down the road that I'm looking at, But you think that's possible? That some people are just more attuned,
Yes. I do.
So that they got the right frequency and they're
Exactly.
communicating. You think?
That's pretty much
To some
exactly what it
extent,
is.
on some of it, yeah, I do believe that.
Boy,
Yeah.
The tune, the right frequency.
I hope my frequency stays untuned, because I don't want none of these
You might get
experiences.
untuned one day, but I'm going to see
You like to hear about them, but you don't want any
I'll
of them.
listen
love
to
to hear
them, but
about
I sure don't want it happening to
I'm going
me.
to sneak you along on that. One day. We're going to go to a graveyard or something.
There's a story in a book called "Look Back with Love," and it's a gal which was a school teacher that went into the Appalachians, and she recorded all these stories. And the way at the beginning of each chapter, she used a guy named Carpenter that used to carve the gravestones for all the people around, and he always wrote something about somebody. And but there was this one story about this old mountaineer and the old log cabins in the mountains. They didn't chink the logs all together. They wanted the air to flow through. They believed they'd smother in those cabins. They'd like that fresh air, and it'd be cold, and they'd be sleeping in that. And he said that there was haints in his house, and so he took his shotgun to bed with him, and he one night, and he felt this shiver and all, and he looked down at the foot of the bed, and this haint was dancing around at the foot of the bed, and he got his gun and cocked it back and blew his toes right off.
Dang. Booyah!
But the people of the mountains, particularly, I think, the Ozarks and all that, were pretty superstitious, and they believed. I guess it's Scotch Irish.
His own toes off. He's seen something.
He thought it was a ghost dancing at the end of the bed, but it was
and he
his
believed in
toes
it too, because he
sticking
shot his own damn feet off.
And I'm not doubting that he probably was seeing something. There's a wide phenomena of people waking up and seeing a hat man, a dark shadow figure in the house at night, in the bedroom while they're asleep, waking up. There's a large amount of people. It's up in the thousands per year that people report waking up seeing what is just called the flannel man. It's a man in flannel, looks very like he could have a very Nordic Viking descent or whatever bloodline at some point. Could have been
like Dustin
and
with the
flannel man, and all of them report waking
there was
up.
an
And
old
it's
movie
just,
way back called "The Man in the Gray Flannel Suit." Maybe that was a precursor. Ooh, big word. Hey, we got a train. I hear that train a coming.
it's coming around the bend. It's coming.
Well,
Yeah, that
that's
happens here
and
pretty
you
regular.
you guys have cracked open that egg or whatever to allow us to kind of listen to that kind of stuff. Where otherwise we might say, boy, like Nubbin, my buddy, you know, I don't believe none of that stuff you get. Well, you know, but he liked it. You know, he liked to listen to it. But he said, I don't believe none of that. But you've kind of pulled back the curtain a little bit and said, you know, it's okay to think about that kind of stuff. And it is interesting and it could happen and all. But I've never been a real superstitious person, you know. But baseball's one of the most superstitious sports. You know, they have all these ball players, you know. I got to wear the same shirt or I got to, you know.
I've always kind of been superstitious. And then my family raised my papa and them raised go-karts. And can't have green on a go-kart or a race car. You can't eat boiled peanuts before the race.
Mm-hmm. Boiled peanuts.
I'd get a whooping if I got boiled peanuts before the race. You get them after the race. When we go to leave, you get you some boiled peanuts. But you don't get no boiled peanuts before the race.
Yep. And no green on your car.
And
some people won't even let you wear green on their trailer. Like, if you got a green shirt on and want to stand on the trailer with them, you can't be on their trailer because that
who was the NASCAR racer that was sponsored by Mountain Dew?
I don't remember.
Might have been Dale Jr. that was sponsored by Mountain Dew.
Nah, he was Bud White.
Was he
sponsored by Mountain Dew one time?
Was he Mountain Dew after Budweiser?
I think so.
Yeah. Listeners, write in. Gone to the Dogs.
They'll let us know where we're wrong at.
I'm not a NASCAR person. I don't know.
Yeah.
I tried to get into it a a little bit. I liked Tony Stewart for a while, you know, but other than that, I couldn't get into NASCAR.
Well, we could just switch this over to a NASCAR. Boy, how about old
feel like
Junior Johnson? He was a good one, wasn't he?
Yeah, back in the day.
No, guys, I tell you, have you got any stories to tell me about coon hunting? Anything related that you can personally share? You've been squirrel hunting a lot, and you have too.
I ain't gonna say I've been a lot, but I've had some good hunts.
Well, that's what I hear. What's going on in the squirrel woods?
Me and Dustin worked on them. Me, him, and a guy named Steve Cromer.
He was down here earlier. He's somewhere. He's somewhere around.
We worked on him one day, and
now, are you guys using shotguns? Or
the day we killed those, we all had 22s. If we'd had a shotgun, we'd killed 50 squirrels.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Now, are you using scopes on your 22s?
I don't.
You just
I'm an iron sight man.
Like old Jeff Foxworthy one time, he's doing a video I saw, and he was shooting at this deer.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
How far is it? About 800 yards. He said, send a volley.
Yeah.
He said, shoot with a 22 rifle.
That was Willie and Billy with Spotlight on Deer. That's what that was.
Was it?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I loved it. He said, well, send a volley.
Yeah, he's like, you missed him. Try him again, baby. Bro. He's like, send a volley down there this time. And then when the deer was standing in a snowy field when they shot, when they got to him, it was in a hardwood bottom. There wasn't no snow.
And he's there and he said, I got this big old mossy back buck here. I'll track him for you. And this guy comes out of nowhere and said, get away from my deer, man.
Dustin will let that 22 go. He'll feed it.
Yeah.
Tap, 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 tap.
Man, it can't eat if you don't feed it.
It don't matter. He'll put some shots through there.
What kind of rifle?
I'm shooting old Marlin Model 60.
Yeah.
I like it.
I've had one of them.
I'd like to have
it's got a tube magazine under the barrel. I used to lose my tube, though. Did you ever try to buy one of these things?
I've never tried to buy one.
Don't lose it. Just let me tell you.
Don't lose it.
I gave mine to my boy. He's got it up in Illinois. And I'm shooting a Marlin. I've coon hunted for several years with a Marlin, but it's 700 something. I don't know. It's a composite stock, you know. But what about you?
I got several. I was running the Ruger American 22, but I generally just run a regular old Ruger 1022.
1022.
But I just bought me right before Christmas a Henry.
Oh yeah, it's kind of heavy though, isn't it?
It is a little heavy, but I'm a lever gun fan. My first 30-30 was a lever gun.
I got to tell you what I got. I've got one day I was at UKC and the phone rang like it did. constantly. And this guy, we had a rule that said no firearms at the events back at that day. Okay. No alcoholic beverages, no unprescribed drugs. He said, we want to raffle off a 22 rifle. Would it be okay if we have that rifle there? And I said, well, yeah. I mean, it's a new rifle. That's fine. We just mean you can't carry a firearm on the cast with you. I said, what kind of rifle are you raffling off? He said, it's a Winchester 94-22, which is a lever action, like the modern 94 30-30s or whatever, you know. And he said, but what's cool about it, it's got engraved receiver. On one side, it's got a hound head, and on the other side, it's got a raccoon. I said, man, that sounds cool. And so I had a friend there in Michigan that was a coon hunter, and he had a firearms license. So I went over and saw him. We looked it up in the book, and he ordered me one of those. I've still got it. It's in the box. It's never been fired. And it's the fancy stock with all the fancy checkering and all that stuff. But man, I thought that's pretty cool.
I've never even seen one of those. I've never seen a Winchester 94 chambered in 22. I've never seen a Winchester 94
I believe
22.
I have, dude. I believe my daddy had one when I was
It's a 94-22, and it's got the straight stock, like the Marlins, a 39A or whatever.
36.
36? Okay. They got like a pistol grip kind of on them. But this thing's like a straight stock. Yeah. But it's a sweet little... I've been tempted many times to take it out and shoot it. And I say, well, it's worth more in the box. But I'm not going to sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. What do you shoot, Daniel?
Ruger 10-22 with a breakdown stock.
You know, the only problem, I love a 10-22. I think they're great. They're reliable. That grip, pistol grip, is too big for my hand. I like to be able, I don't have a very big hand, but I always thought that they made that too wide right in there on the, where the handle grip. Well, what do you call that part?
They actually call it the most. Pistol grip. It's the pistol grip is what they all call it.
Yeah.
So what about your plot dog? You been hunting with him some here lately?
You don't want me to talk about that.
He told me he was like hoping you could lay hands on his plot dog.
Yeah. But you didn't bring it with you. We got to get together and go hunting.
Well, we definitely do. I'm interested. Now your female's out of tracker, right?
Yes, sir.
That's your male.
No,
my
male's out of tracker.
Okay.
I don't know what I was thinking. Yes, my male's off the tracker.
Yeah,
he's just a pup. I hadn't hunted him a whole lot, but here lately I just started really taking him.
Now, Tracker is the dual grand. Yep. I think he's now co-owned by Donald Jenkins in Virginia.
Him and Corey
Hall from Michigan.
Yes, sir.
I know Corey very well. In fact, I photographed Tracker, it's either last year or year before, there in the vendor barn. Good-looking plot dog.
He's a good-looking dog.
And I'd say if Corey is hunting him, he's doing it because Corey, he hunts hard and he's got a good place to train dogs. And well, that's cool.
I hope he does pretty good tonight. I hope to see some plot dog do good. I hope a plot dog wins it.
Boy,
well, that'd be a first.
The high scores are going to be coming in Walker Dog, so. I just had to throw that in.
Well, you got the odds in your favor. That's for sure.
That's a fact.
Yeah. But who?
Well, plot dogs were always my go-to because of my dad. My dad was a bear hunter. He loved to plot. Bought the first one in 1954. So I was like 8 years old. So I never had anything else on the place but a plot dog all those years that I was growing up, But they're fun, just like anything else. I don't care if you got a black hey, by the way, how's the black dog doing?
He's doing. He's coming along. He's about 7 months old right now.
Yeah,
he hadn't really started out going. I've taken him in the woods just about every night, maybe minus 4 or 5 nights they didn't take him. He ain't really. He's wanting to go off with the dog some. He's kind of getting there. He did run a rabbit through my backyard the other week, and he was running. He was running.
You can dodge the ball.
He was running to catch it. So I know he's got some kind of prey drive.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So we just all of it.
He'll be all right.
Coming in and.
Well, that's a whole can of worms right there to open up talking about these pups and how soon they start and all. Spent all day today in the vendor barn, talking to so many coon hunters today. And we talk about pups and this and that, and the consensus is, well, it's all over the board. Now, if they're not doing it by a year old, you need to get rid of them. If they're not doing it by 6 months old, you need to, and all this. And
give it to the good Lord.
And the good Lord called him home.
Goodness.
Yeah, but anyway, the
Yeah,
opinions
all kind
are
of
all across the board with how to train a dog.
If somebody was
but-
to tell me that and say something like that about a 6-month-old dog, I would be tempted not to slap them. Are you stupid? They're
Yeah.
6 months old.
That's right.
They're just a baby.
They're just a baby.
They are.
I
They
mean,
are.
they ain't even at 6 months old. They ain't even. If you were to put it in dog years, they ain't got the junior
3.5
high yet.
months,
Yeah,
3.5 months
they still
old.
in
or
elementary
no,
school.
3.5 years.
Years, I mean.
Mhm.
Thank
They-
you.
they just a-
Thank you. I
They
know
just a
you're the smart
toddler.
one on
They
this
just a
bunch.
toddler.
Yeah.
That's right.
They ain't even
That's
made it
right.
into elementary school yet.
Yeah. Now you guys a couple of you wearing this Havoc hat. So you guys, is that one of your sponsors now?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Havoc, Bright Eyes.
Tell me who you got.
That's
I see it.
Havoc,
Havoc
Bright
Bright
Eyes.
We double dosed.
We
All
double
right.
dosed.
That's
Hey,
cool.
anybody out there who makes dog boxes, hit us up. You want
There you go. Very good. Well, I sat at the Chamber of Commerce dinner last night by the guy that has these dog boxes right here in the building across the way over here, and I can't remember his
Dry
name.
pond.
Yeah.
This is a Bad Habit dog box. I can't remember his
Bad
name
Habit.
either. I just remember.
The
Bad
guy.
Habits,
No,
the
this is
company.
the guy with Woods and something.
Woods and
Woods and
Waters.
Water.
Woods and Waters.
I don't know his name.
But he's a sponsor, Grand American.
Mhm.
He's been here every year, and but I tease these people who come by the booth. They got a dog collar or leash, and they'll be with their wife or whatever. I said, man, you're not helping these vendors out at all.
Mhm.
You need to go buy a new pair of boots. You need to get a new light. You need to get a dog box.
A dog box?
My mom is sitting there looking.
Mhm.
I know the feeling. I've been
Go
there.
on
It's kind of hard
Go on
to
and
sneak.
throw $5,000 down, homeboy. Like, what are you doing to even come down here with
How
less?
do you sneak a dog box in the closet or in the gun safe? I mean, you can kind of sneak a new shotgun in the house.
I usually do that every. I had done that here this year at the Grand American, but I usually sneak something in without my wife. Like I wore my Garmin watch whenever I bought it down here, 2-3 years ago.
Mhm.
I wore that song for about doggone 2 or 3 days before she noticed I bought that watch.
I got one of those for Christmas. I still haven't figured out how to use it.
Really,
I know
got a little.
I can
little
tell what
instinct.
my heartbeat is. Of course, I can do that by placing my hand on my chest. But anyway, it's cool. I think my wife, to say that she cared about what I brought in like that, would be to admit that she cares what I do when these dogs out there. Because
How much does that set you back, huh?
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's been great, man. We have been at this 1 hour and 17 minutes. That's an uneven number. We need to crank out at least 3 more minutes.
We can do
Give
that.
3
That's
more
easy.
minutes
What
or
do we
something anyway.
Anybody got a favorite song they want to sing? Or,
Dustin.
What you want me to do?
is
No.
Taking
Dustin
requests. I'm not very good, but I will.
sing? We used to say, I get a lot of requests, but I'm going to sing anyway.
I don't know that I've got Ryan singing yet. I don't know that we've.
I try to play my cards just right where you
There's
don't get me
sometimes-
singing.
Yeah.
There's sometimes I hit them with that paya and I press that
Yeah.
record button
Uh-huh.
without they even knowing it. And there's a lot.
He's got
Well, I
Dustin
like
a couple
He's got
times.
me a couple times.
for lack of a better term, because I'm not in the business, so to speak, but Rush Limbaugh used to call it bumper music. I like the music you put in there that it's got a cutting edge to it and all that. It's kind of young for
Little
me.
bit. Yeah,
I'm more like
yeah.
Buck Owens, but
Right. We got that tiger by the tail.
there you go. There you go.
Yes, look, I
Yeah.
kind of if I listen to it, I'll go through the music catalog thing that I pay. I pay so much a month just for all to download the music and stuff. It's not a whole lot, but I'll go through and I'll listen and if I'm feeling it, I'm like,
This is
I'll
going
listen
on
to
a
it. I'm like,
podcast.
yep, that's the one.
Come here, little fella.
That's the one. And I'll sit there and listen. I'll sit there and listen through just like different, just listen. And I'll find one that's got that right beat and it kind of, I like music. My musical taste is all over the board. I like everything from old country, even some old jazz to, I like rock, rap. All that. I don't like a lot of modern rap, but I can listen to a lot of.
What is a rap? A rap.
It ain't very good, let me tell you.
I do. I know I heard you say it one time before. I don't remember if it was on this podcast or the one before, but you was talking about like the rap, country rap. I do like a lot.
Hip hop.
Yeah, that's it. the hip hop. I like Upchurch. I listen to a good bit of Ryan Upchurch and people of that genre.
Well,
but
I've always loved music. When I was a kid, and growing up and through high school and college, used to sing in male quartets. Always sang in the church choir when I was young. Sang in the glee club or whatever they called it when I was in high school. Always liked music though, but I loved, but I like old time rock and roll. I'm a ZZ Top guy.
I can get down with that.
I
guess with me,
a lot of driving guitar and bass, where there's real.
Yeah.
But like Travis Tritt said, put some drive in your country. I think it was Travis that did that. Maybe that might have been what's the tall guy?
Trace Atkins.
Trace was Trace the one that did that.
I don't remember which one done it.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
But
I blame it on being as a product of being a teenager in the 90s because look, through the late 80s
decade
or into the 90s,
the late 1900s,
rap,
right,
that kind of music, rap genre, it really grew through the 90s. So it was like late 80s and into the 90s. So I was kind of like right there. It was. Y'all shake your head.
I'm just making fun of you.
So it was kind of like
we got Casey Kasem right here on the set of Gone to the Dog podcast.
The 90s. Everybody in my graduating class was 32 people.
Ooh.
Everybody listened to rock, rap, country. Everybody listened to everything because all the music was good in the 90s.
Yeah.
I disagree. Not all of it was good.
I look
you had
back.
like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys.
We did well.
You're not into the boy
there
bands.
Are some exceptions.
I really ain't.
Well, if I had to choose, of course, the old country stuff for me, But to me,
like
the all-time best
it.
entertainer I've ever seen or heard musically is George Strait. He's my man. I mean, I love his music.
Can't argue with you there.
And Ella and I did. It was on our bucket list. We did go see him and Martina McBride in Orlando. That was kind of all when we were dating each other long distance. She was a big Garth Brooks fan. I said, no, you got to tune in to George, And I got her hooked on him, and we that was really a fun time to go see George in concert.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, but
we got to go back to Keston before we close.
Oh yeah,
Keston.
that's right. You
Uh-oh.
had something to
About
tell
Keston.
him.
this my
Keston.
buddy over there in the hills of Virginia, and listeners out there, you all say a little prayer for Keston's wife. She's been really feeling bad lately, and let's just send a good vibrations and warm thoughts and prayers out for Keston's wife. She's going to be fine, but he didn't get to come down here to Grand American. He really wanted to. He got to go to Autumn Oaks, loved that, and so we're breaking him in on this stuff. But he didn't get to come this time. But pour it on him. You got something about Keston. This is for you, Keston.
I've been listening to him talk. I've been listening, Miss Steve, there's a certain point when you got a male puppy.
Yeah.
To when their their testicles drop. And I've been listening.
This is the science corner.
Listening.
Sounds super scientific, don't it?
There comes a point in time. He can hem-haw around about entering them hunts and this or that. But there comes a point in time where he's gonna have to grow up and
just
with
leap
the
in there.
cojones and fill out that entry slip and quit giving excuses.
He's already got
He
his
ain't
own
no,
heart
he
done
can,
if he does
he
all
can
that hunting.
pleasure hunt long as he freaking wants to. This is America, Bo.
Oh, and here's the thing: he can look and read and study them rules, but a lot of that stuff he's gonna learn is gonna be out there on them casts.
Well, the thing
Doing it.
about Keston is he wants to do everything right.
Mm.
That's the kind of guy he is.
Oh, you got to do
And-
a whole lot wrong first, cuz.
Especially
Let
that
me tell
competition
you,
hunt.
you got to
Yeah,
do a
he's gonna
whole
do a
lot
whole
wrong.
And he
He's
has
gonna-
an awesome young dog.
He needs to put it in
He
some
needs
hunts.
a
I've been
little
hearing
work
about it.
with other dogs. He hasn't played with other dogs all that much. But it's not that he has any problems with them, but they kind of take him off his game a little bit when he's turned loose with other dogs. He doesn't really pack, but he kind of gets thinking about them, I think. And it kind of alters his game plan a little bit. But you turn that sucker loose. I called him the raccoon vending machine. I mean, you put your money in and that coon's going to drop when you turn old Clyde loose because he's deadly, He had a scare the other night. He called me. He said, I've lost Clyde. I said, what do you mean you lost him? He said, no, he just dropped off the Garmin and he wasn't that far away. And he said, I can't hear him. I got no signal on him, nothing. Boom. So I said, well, maybe somehow the collar's died or whatever. Just get out and start driving around the areas you think he might be and listen for him. He'll be treed somewhere because that's the kind of dog he is. He's going to be treed somewhere. So he goes and that doesn't work. He doesn't find his dog. And I said, well, go back to where he dropped off. And I'm thinking in the back of my mind,
He's in a hole.
Huh?
He's in a hole.
He's in a hole. I said, that area is full of these sinkholes, caves, and all that stuff, Well, he goes back and he says, Steve, I can't find him. He said, and I've called my buddy, his buddy Chris, and he said he's got a better antenna. He's a bear hunter. Maybe he can pick up the signal or something on the dog. I said, Keston, something's happened to that collar right there. And I'd say that dog is right there somewhere. But I didn't want in the back of my mind them saying he's in a ditch or something, but maybe got hit. But so he's, he calls me back. I still haven't found him. He drives down the road and he said, there he is. And he was sitting on the front porch of his people's house. And what had happened was they heard the dog treed down by the creek. They drive down 200 yards down the road with the kids, set the kids out, go across the creek, get that dog. They go out, bring the dog back, and they put him back on the porch and feeding him a loaf of bread. And when he's found, and they had already called the number on there, got a recording or something, But it was a scary moment for him, because he thought he just disappeared.
Especially when you got one that's doing it.
Oh yeah.
That's
But
bad
the
feeling.
reason that pup's doing it is because of Keston Jesse.
He puts him in the woods.
He got that puppy. He had nothing to train him with. And he'd take him and walk him night after night after night, and he'd doing nothing. But just out there trotting around. And then he got to where he'd go and find a coon and sit under it, but he wouldn't bark. He'd just sit there and look up at it. But Keston right there with him, little by little. So, but I'm proud of that boy. He's a good hunter. He's a real
That's why I
good
said
hunter.
he's got the hard part done now. All that hunting time. He needs to go ahead and enter a competition hunt.
Well,
Get
you
it over with.
keep the fire under him, Daniel, and let's get him convinced.
Man, send him some money to lose on the entry fee.
There you
Cause you
go,
want him to
Daniel.
hunt so bad, send him
Let him
$30.
He's got to pay
Sponsor
for his
that
own.
boy.
He's got to pay for his own lessons.
Send him $30, cuz.
Them $30 lessons, man, they can add up pretty
They
quick.
$35 lessons now.
When I was a kid, boy, we didn't have any youth hunts and that kind of stuff. It was out there, pull your big boy breeches up and go hunting. And boy, those guys were not kind.
Oh, they might take advantage of a child back in those days.
Oh, my goodness. Like that guy out here, my dog, locate. The guy's here, I'm hunting this rowdy dog, and he throws a locate that, and this guy said, now, I want to tell you guys there's some bad holes in here them coons go into. Just point of information. Just wanted you to know about that. Next, His dog lets out about a half locate. Boom, he's treating him. You know, lesson one right there. Don't listen to the guide. You know, he's playing with your mind. He knew my dog was locating.
He's waiting on his to start locating.
That's right.
Hold you up a little bit.
That's right. But night hunter wouldn't do that.
Absolutely.
That was back in the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, today's hunters is way nicer.
Hey, speaking of, right quick, I ran into one of your old friends the other week, Mr. Oh, I had it right there in my head.
Yeah, I had a friend one time. Yeah.
Daniel's still looking for one.
Lee Kearns. Lee Kearns.
Lee Kearns.
We were on our way to the Clinton football game, the Clinton Red Devils. It was a playoff game, and we had to go, I forgot where we were, Easley or something. We had to go down the toll road.
His wife's a big Clemson fan.
We had to go down the toll road, and I'm like, that's Mr. Lee Kearns working the toll booth. And I was like, hey, Mr. Lee, how you doing? And he let us go on by. Didn't even make us pay. Like, hi, dig. We appreciate that, Mr. Lee.
Yeah, Lee's a long-time buddy of mine. Couldn't thank him enough. When I went to work for PKC, we started a bench show program. They never had bench show programs. Well, way back they did. But he'd haul the show benches around all over the country and help me set up stuff and help with the judging. You know, long-time friend. Can't buy friends like that. You can't put a value on friends like that. I mean, he's just, you know, everybody has a circle of friends, and you have an inner circle of friends.
Mm-hmm.
Lee's in there for me. He's a super guy. Guys, we have been at it an hour and 30 minutes. That's enough to punish these listeners, don't you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'd like to think so anyway.
I know you all have had a long day today, and I have too, and you're obviously going to do some more recording after we're done here. Just before we go around the table, what's been your general reaction to Autumn Oaks, Grand American this year compared to previous years? What's the vibe?
It's nice outside.
Very nice outside.
Very nice. It ain't cold, it ain't hot, it ain't too wet, it ain't dry.
Yeah.
It's about as perfect as it could get.
Exactly. That's the way I get it.
Tomorrow, the flow today was pretty good. I think it's going to be packed tomorrow.
It will be huge. If you want to come, well, here again, this is after the fact. But people that want to be here tomorrow, they better get up before breakfast.
That's it.
Because they're not going to find a place to park. Yeah, it's awesome. It's great to be here at Grand American with the boys from Coon Hunting Confidentials on the Houndstooth Podcast Network. Is that correct?
Hey, throw this out there. If anybody's got any stories, anything like that, after they hear the show, they'll kind of get the vibe, know what we're looking for. Hit us up. Send to eat.
Fairies and whatnot.
htpodinfo@gmail.com.
Give it to us one more time.
htpodinfo@gmail.com.
There you have it, folks. Listen to their podcast. I'm no joking. It's my favorite podcast. I listen to every new episode. I get lots of laughs, and it makes me think that I'm smarter than I am after I listen to these guys.
It should. Let me tell you, it should make you feel like a genius.
Thank you, fellas. This has been great. There we go. The crew from the Houndstooth Podcast Network, live from the 2023 Grand American. If somebody asks you, where's Steve Fielder? Say, well, he went down there to the Grand American, but somehow they tell me he's gone to the dogs.